Yes, I will tell you a little about myself. My name is Anna. The reason I decided to come here and talk to you is, of course, I'm worried that you might lose your right to take Danish education if you don't know the rules. Because the thing is, we have 3 different dansk uddannelse, Danish educations. There are 3 different. It's not like first you take number 1 and then number 2 and then number 3. You take either. You take one of them, not all of them. Mm-hmm. Dansk uddannelse, it doesn't bother you at all. It's for people who can't read and write, people who's never been to school or who's been to school for only 3, 4, 5 years. We still get people like that from Somalia, even from Turkey. Dansk uddannelse 2 is for people who has a short education. Maybe you have done 7, 8, 9, 10 years in school, and then a short education as, well, whatever. There's lots of short educations. Dansk uddannelse 3 is for people with a longer education, people who's been doing something in university, who has a bachelor on something, who has a master on something. Or people who are very young and want to do a master in Denmark. Well, 3 Danish educations. Now the thing is, if you come to Denmark as a refugee, you go straight on to these. Mm-hmm. But you're not coming as refugees, you're coming either to work or to study, right? Mm-hmm. So if you come to work or to study, there is a different rule. You have to start with this, arbejdsmarkedsrettet dansk, or Danish for work. And this is 50 lessons, 50 lessons, 50 lessons, 50 lessons, 50 lessons, 5 times. The thing is with this, you have to do it within the first 1.5 years after you come to Denmark. 1.5 years. Which is a very short time, and it doesn't count from the moment you go to the sports center and sign up. It counts from the moment you get your CPR number. Mm-hmm. So the moment you get your CPR number, the clock starts ticking. Mm-hmm. Because when you finish this, you have to immediately, says the law, immediately. And we asked the ministry, and they didn't tell us what immediately means. Does it mean the next day? Does it mean the next week? Yeah. Does it mean the next month? Yeah, they don't tell us. But immediately, you have to go from this to the Danish educations. Okay. If you do that, then you have another 3 years.
So when you finish the 1.5 years, then you can go to 3?
Then you can go either to dansk uddannelse 2 or dansk uddannelse 3, depending on your background. Okay. And you can, and depending how much you learn on these 250 lessons, they will put you in module 2, module 3, wherever your level is. Because this here is lessons, how many lessons you take. But over here, it depends on you. It depends how fast you learn. If you learn fast, then you take a test, and then you go to the next level. If you need a little more time, maybe you work a lot and you're very tired, then you take the test a little later, and then you go on to the next level. So the classes here is not like in school that you go with the same girls and boys all the way through 7, 8, 9, 10 years in school. The classes here, every student changes level whenever the student is ready. And depending how much you learn on these 250 lessons, you will be put in any one of these.
But of course the limitation is 3 years, correct?
The limitation after you finish this, and it doesn't matter if you use 1.5 years or you only use 6 months for this. Yeah. When you finish this and you start here, you have 3 years. Mm-hmm. The thing is also that it's not like the sports center starts in August and in January. We start classes all the time. So if you come now and you say I want to start, they will start you next week or within 2 weeks. It depends on the municipality. If you want a permanent residence in Denmark, for you as European citizens, you might think it doesn't matter. I'm a European citizen. Of course I can stay in Denmark anytime if I like. But we pay a lot of tax in Denmark. And if you've been staying here, working, paying tax for 10 years or more, and then someday You lose your job, you get sick, something happens in your life, you get a divorce, you get a depression, you get whatever. It happens to people. It might not, I hope it won't happen to you, but it happens to people. If that happens to you after 10 years, the Danish government, if you don't have a permanent residence, the Danish government will tell you, well, you can go to Greece and be sick. You can go to Greece with your problems. And then you go to Greece and you go to ICA, and ICA tells you you didn't pay ICA for 10 years. and well, basically you get nothing for your tax money. To get a permanent residence, you have to either take this one or this one. The test, the examen that finishes the Danish education. In dansk uddannelse 3, the examen is after 5 moduler. And then you can take another examen that gives you the right to start straight at a university in Denmark. But if you don't take one of these, and then you have to take an additional test about Danish culture and politics and whatever, but it's possible to read it in a book and then you just have to tick off the right answer. It's difficult if you don't read the book, but if you read the book and if you learn the book by heart, then it's possible to do that. But the reason these things, I mean, you could live and work in Denmark in English for a whole life. But the reason these things are important is because then you can get a permanent residence. And if you take that one, you can get a Danish citizenship, which for you doesn't matter, but for non-European citizens it does matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Mange tak. Tak for i dag.
Tak.